Welcome back to another episode of Out Loud Geek, where we discuss news and views about pop culture, science fiction, fantasy, food, cooking, the outdoors, and more. Before Peter Safran's and James Gunn's DC movie entitled Superman has its third weekend in theaters, let's take a look at how it did during its second weekend. But before proceeding, if you're enjoying this video, please consider pressing the like button, and if you'd like to see more of my content, I hope you'll consider subscribing to my channel. And I want to convey my deepest thanks and appreciation to everyone who has subscribed. So just how well did Peter Safran's and James Gunn's vision of Superman do at the global box office during its second weekend in theaters? As it turns out, it didn't do bad domestically, but its international box office is now lagging further behind. The movie earned another $57.3 million during the weekend and $52.8 million during the week domestically, $70.9 million internationally, and $180.9 million globally to bring its second weekend domestic, international, and global gross box office totals up to $235 million, $165.9 million, and $400.9 million respectively. Then the Sunday domestic earnings were revised slightly upwards on Monday to $58.5 million, which raised the total global gross box office earned during the second weekend to $402.1 million. And currently those numbers are slightly higher as the movie goes into its third weekend. But how did the movie's second weekend box office earnings impact its domestic share? After opening weekend, the movie's domestic share was 56.82%, but as of the second weekend, the domestic share went up to 58.75%, which was a nearly 2-point increase. But why was that? During its second weekend, domestically, the movie earned another $111.2 million, which was $40.3 million more than what the movie earned internationally. During opening weekend, the movie's domestic earnings were $30 million more than its international earnings, so the movie's international box office is lagging the domestic box office at an increasing rate, which won't help the movie's bottom line. But how did the second weekend box office earnings impact the movie's projected final domestic and global gross box office earnings? Using a range of possible average weekly drops from 28.61% to 48.41%, which is plus or minus one standard deviation away from the past 15 DCEU movies' overall average weekly drop of 38.51%, I can project that the final domestic box office earnings for the movie may range from $354.7 million at the low end, $413.7 million at the mid-range, and $512.5 million at the upper end, which is higher than last week's projection. Then by using the movie's current domestic share of 58.75%, I can project that the final global gross box office earnings for the movie may range from $603.9 million at the low end, $704.3 million at the mid-range, and $872.4 million at the upper end, which is also higher than last week's projection. Given the movie's reported production budget of $225 million, when added to the reported estimated range for the marketing budget, which is from $150 million to $200 million, that gives us an estimated total cost for the movie ranging from $375 million to $425 million. And when we multiply the range of total costs by 2 to account for the 50% of gross box office ticket sales that movie theaters keep for themselves, that gives us an estimated break-even point range of $750 million to $850 million, which is a tremendous amount of money for any movie to overcome. So how should we interpret what occurred last weekend and the movie's projected future earnings? Disney's and Marvel Studios' latest MCU movie that I have dubbed Fantastic Four Meets the Silver She-Surfer opens this weekend. That will have an adverse impact on the earnings potential for Superman as it moves into its third weekend in theaters. And while Superman didn't have much of a weekly drop domestically during its second weekend, it did have a larger weekly drop internationally, which means that Superman has a growing dependence on the domestic box office. In my view, the possibility of Superman being able to break even rose, but current projections still favor the movie not breaking even. So we'll have to wait and see how well the movie does this coming weekend. Please let me know in the comments below if you are planning to see Superman or if you have already seen it, and what you thought about the movie as well as my projections. Thanks for watching today, and a huge thanks to each and every one of you who has subscribed to support this channel. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, and Blue Sky by clicking on the links in the description. Until next time, this is Out Loud Geek.